مرحبا كيف حالك or كيف حالك. أنا بخير. Thanks for asking. Alhamdulillah. How's your Arabic going? Can you answer my questions? كيف حالك كيف حالك. What's your name? ما اسمك ما اسمك. اسمي Tony. من أين أنت or من أين أنت. أنا من Chicago. Can you answer those questions? Can you answer هل تتكلم or هل تتكلمين عربي? Do you study هل تدرس هل تدرسين عربي? Test yourself. See if you can answer those. You should be able to answer those questions. If not, just can keep practicing. Today's lesson is going to go back to past, present, and future, which is sort of an outline of grammar, if you think about it, an outline of verbs, because it's mainly past, present, and future. Verbs have a lot to do with time. We think of verbs as the action word, and that's true, but it's really a time marker as well. In fact, in the Polish language, just a random fun fact, in the Polish language, the word for verb, czasownik, means like time something, time marker. So verbs have a lot to do with time. So if we put past, present, and future here, and put like edrus in the present, right, which is I study, edrus becomes tedrus, which becomes tedrusin, right? So I study, you male study, you female study. Edrus, you could say edrus Arabi, right? I study Arabic. Edrus Arabi, I could say to you, tedrus Arabi, or ask you hal, because right, we use hal for a yes or no question. You don't like necessarily have to, but so hal tedrus Arabi, or tedrus Arabi, or tedrusin Arabi, hal tedrusin Arabi, right? And if so, you say nam. Yes, nam edrus Arabi, right? It's really as easy as that to create conversation. Verb starting points. So I'm going to put edrus in the future. I think we saw this already. Se edrus. Therefore, setedrus. Therefore, setedrusin. And that gives us the same deal, but in the future, I will study. So, se'edrus Arabi, inshallah, God willing, inshallah, se'edrus Arabi. Now, past tense switches things up just a tiny bit. It's the ending of this verb, the tu, that makes past tense for I. So, I studied past tense. I studied Arabic yesterday. I studied Arabic today, earlier. Darastu Arabi today. El-yom. Or al-yom. Al-yom. Darastu Arabi al-yom. Okay? And second person, you, speaking to male, is darasta. And second person, you, speaking to female, is darasti. Okay? Now take a good long second to take these patterns in, because this pattern works for all verbs, literally for all verbs. No, there's no verb that doesn't use this pattern. It's tu, ta, ti, and so on and so forth. Okay? So with that in mind, I'm going to ask a couple questions. Madha, 3 questions to be exact. Madha fa'alta, the 3 makes the ayn. So madha fa'alta today. Remember, el-yom. Okay? So madha fa'alta el-yom. Okay, now you should notice that ta, speaking to you, male. Of course, if I'm speaking to you, female, or you're speaking to you, female, it's madha fa'alti el-yom. Okay, now the verb fa'ala means do. It's the verb do. So madha is what, madha fa'alta, what did you do? Past tense. Okay, don't even translate anymore. It gets confusing even for me to forget translating, but I just want you to know. Madha falta el-yom. What did you do today? Madha, and then falta el-yom. Speaking to female, madha falti el-yom. Use madha again. This time, madha tafal. Right now. What do you do right now? Meaning, what are you doing right now? Okay? You should notice that the tefal, of course, is related to the tev, tedrus. That's the you to male. Okay. Then mada, tefalin elan, which is, of course, analogous to tedrusin. So mada tefal elan and mada tefalin elan. Now, if you can do that, there's nothing stopping you from bringing it over into the future as well and saying, what are you going to do? So how would you do that? Of course, you just put the se in front of things, right? So bring the tefal over. Mada se tefal and mada se tefalin, and it's literally as easy as that. So mada falta al-yawm. Why don't you say, I studied Arabic today? You'd say darastu Arabi al-yawm. You can do it yourself. It's that easy. Darastu Arabi al-yawm. Okay. What are you doing right now? Mada tafal alan or mada tafalin alan, and say edrus. I'm studying. I study and I'm studying is the same. So you could say edrus Arabi alan. And what are you going to do? Of course, you're going to study Arabic because that's what we do 24/7. So I studied, I'm kidding, but I studied Arabic, and I'm going to study just as in Se'edrus Arabi. Se'edrus Arabi, okay? I want to bring the past, present, and future structure down again and add something like qablan. Qablan means earlier. Alan means right now. And ba'dan means later. Okay? So all of a sudden you could say, I studied Arabic earlier. I'm studying Arabic right now. And I'm going to study Arabic later. See how it's very it's past, present, and future. Very easily laid out and neat. Okay? While we're at it, el-yom means today. Ams means yesterday. And ghadan means tomorrow. So I will study Arabic tomorrow, God willing, insha'Allah. It's very common to say insha'Allah. Even if people aren't religious, they still say insha'Allah. But Se'edrus Arabi, pretend it says Arabi there. Se'edrus Arabi ghadan, insha'Allah. I'm studying Arabic today. I guess you could say that. Edrus Arabi al-yawm. Wa darastu Arabi ams. We could continue. Hadha al-misa means tonight. And ams fil misa is yesterday in the night, which is to say last night. And ghadan fil misa is tomorrow night. Okay? So using this template, you can very easily ask a language partner, a conversation partner, what did you do today? It's a very good question to ask. Mada falti al-yawm. They'll say, I did this and I did that. Darastu Arabi wa da-da-da wa da-da-da. Okay, what are you doing now? Mada tafal, mada tafalin, and what are you going to do later, right? It's a very kind of complete conversation. It's pretty good. A few more options, just so you know. Dhahebtu means I went. Ila means to. Dhahebtu, notice the to. I went. Dhahebtu ila al-amal is the work, which means work. Dhahebtu ila al-amal. Dhahebtu ila al-amal today. Right? You just keep using those pieces. Dhahebtu ila al-amal al-yawm. Dhahebtu ila, I don't know, a restaurant. Doesn't matter. You can look these words up, yourself, whatever you want to say. I'm just giving you the template. But matam means restaurant or a restaurant. So, dhahebtu ila matam al-yawm. Question for you. Hal dhahebta, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hal dhahebti, remember the ta and the ti. Hal dhahebta ila al-amal al-yawm. If so, say nam. Dhahebtu ila al-amal al-yawm. And by the way, if you didn't say ma dhahebtu, didn't go. ما is the negative for the past tense there. So ما ذهبت إلى العمل اليوم. Question: هل ذهبت or هل ذهبتِ إلى مطعم اليوم? One more just for fun. مقهى is coffee shop. So you can ask هل ذهبت إلى مقهى اليوم, or هل ذهبتِ إلى مقهى اليوم? In my case, I did not go to a coffee shop today, so I would tell you ما ذهبت إلى مقهى اليوم. And ما ذهبت إلى مطعم اليوم. And yes, I went to work, or at least here at my computer. ذهبت إلى العمل اليوم. What about you, Ants? Can you answer those questions? Can you think of other things that you did today? And even if you don't know the verb right now, can you find out the verb? You see what I mean? You have the template. So you don't need me for every little thing. You know what I mean? You can ask someone, you can Google. I'll try to, obviously tell you as much as I can, but you shouldn't need me to tell you things. Like, you got the template, so you take you find the verb and you plug it into the template. It's going to end in tu if it's for I in the past. It's going to end in ta, and so on. And you go from there. So that's an introduction to past, present, and future conversation via what did you do today, what are you doing, what are you going to do. You can go a long time on that. I just want to give you the structure, make it very light, not flood you with millions of things that you feel like you're supposed to memorize. You don't have to memorize everything. Just take this structure, practice this conversation. I'll practice it with you, you practice it with me, you practice it with yourself via writing, and practice it when you're using Arabic in real life. Okay, so that's my suggestion today. That's today's dars lesson, today's dars. Yeah. So, ila liqa ma'a salama.